Happy Tuesday. Good morning, hockey. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Tuesday morning here. It's raining out here in Chicago, but we appreciate you joining us wherever you are listening. You ever get got on the internet?
Oh, all the time, brother.
I got yesterday. I didn't even really realize it was April Fool's Day. We were talking about this a little bit off air just before we hopped on, but I definitely got twice yesterday when we were recording with Nathan. A lot of things just like going through. You know, we're having a very real discussion about an article that the NHL did put out about the global warming and all that stuff. And I thought to ask my synthetic ice question, and then I hop on Instagram as I do, you know, scrolling through while we're talking a little bit too, just to make sure I don't miss anything. And University of Hawaii not having a college hockey team. That was, I probably should have done at least, at the very least, a follow-up Google search after that. I just kind of said it. Same thing with the outdoor game between FSU and UF. That one I don't know is fake, but I would guarantee it is almost. And I think that's lame if you're going to put that out there as an April Fool's joke. You're trying to grow hockey. The Hawaii one I think is funny. The outdoor game between UF and FSU, why would you put that out there if you had zero intention of doing it? Like, that would actually be so good for the growth of hockey. So would the Hawaii thing, but you know, I think that's like too much of a joke almost to put out there. So I don't think either of those two things are happening. I know the Hawaii thing isn't happening. I would assume that the outdoor game between UF and FSU is not happening. But again, why would you put that out there? I don't know. Is April Fool's Day ruined? You know?
I mean,
are we past that point? Like, we were talking about this a second ago, but like I want to continue this here for a second before jumping into the hockey.
It is a good point, but like the practicality, like the small practical jokes that you would like.
But you don't see practical jokes
I was just
anymore.
saying, but it's like my mom like taping the door, my front door, like so like I open the door and I run into tape. Like that was the type of things that you grow up with on April Fool's Day. Not being tricked by $1 million corporations and journalists.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
So I understand where you're getting at. I think there's a chance to do some kind of like fun, nuanced stuff. I think video games do a really good job of treating their players well on April 1st, but it's kind of hard for anything else that you don't really interact with, you know?
No, I hear you. I think the best April Fool's jokes are the ones that like they have like a week or two set up almost, and then they're unveiled as a joke. I don't know what, like, you know, I mean,
like
some parents are kind of
the Snoop Dogg not smoking anymore. Like that was an April Fool's, but like the way that it came out, where it was like Sycus is all for a smokeless stove.
Anything that has a good build up to it, you know, I dig that. You know, anything that has some meaning to it, but no, just putting things out there for clickbait, confuse podcasters and other radio people. So we don't love that. All right, so enough April Fools, because it is April 2nd. The University of Delaware thing I did mention is very real. The University of Delaware will become the 45th NCAA Division I women's program. That'll kick off in 25-26. The NHL helped compile a year-long feasibility study of how they would make that work. The NHL and the NHL Players Association's Industry Growth Fund, a little bit of a multi-tiered partnership with the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that's really cool. You know, schools that are actually putting out hockey, not fake clickbait, but I think that's, you know, a great stepping stone. Like I said, I don't think Delaware has any Division I hockey, men's or women's. So it is good to see the growth of hockey, obviously, to see these NHL teams do their partnerships. You know, I have to say, you know, I don't really, you know, talk about my other work or other things that I do or my personal life really on here. I was asked by DePaul University, my alma mater, to compile a feasibility study for Division I hockey. And that's a hard thing, Raven. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard document to tackle. And it's just very funny here that they say that the NHL and another group as part of the NHL Players Association helped this University of Delaware put together a feasibility study, as it should be. Like, these are long processes that take a lot of collaborative efforts. A lot of times those feasibility studies are hired to be done by like consulting groups, consulting firms that like work on this stuff professionally. So it is a long process to get college hockey started at a high Division I level like that. There's countless things from like arena, if you're going to build one, and if you're not, what arenas are you going to use at what cost for how many times a year, a week, a month, all of that broken down, player recruitment, coaching staff hiring, everything, hockey operations staff hiring. It's a lot that goes into trying to put together a feasibility study. So it's very cool that they got the NHL's help enlisted in that. 8 games on the board last night, 8 games on the board tonight as well. Had some good ones yesterday. That Winnipeg Los Angeles game was really, really good. Enjoyed watching that. That Leafs Florida game ended up being a very good game. Auston Matthews now has 62 goals. And how about John Tortorella ripping the Flyers' effort? You would have thought that they lost 3-0 the way that he approached the media. Obviously, we all saw the clip of him calling them soft, saying that Ivan Fedotov was the only person who came to play for the Flyers. And he goes on and on about how there are just some guys in the lineup that aren't really getting it. Didn't name any names. Boy, would it have been juicy if he did. But did not go so far as to call out any players by name. Brock Nelson scores the overtime winner for the New York Islanders. Morgan Frost ties it up late, too. And like I said, you would have really imagined that the Flyers had gotten manhandled there in that game, and they did for stretches of it. The second period was pretty poor on their end. They responded with a good third period, but this is getting to be crunch time. And we saw the debut of Ivan Fedotov yesterday. He is tall. He is a very large man in that net. All 6'7" of him. He officially is 6'7", even though I know a lot of people are throwing around the 6'8" label. But he looked good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the Philadelphia Flyers goalie going forward here for the team. Sammy Erson's been a bit shaken up, and look, that might be a part of you bring in another guy who everybody's talking about, and he's not starting in the American Hockey League. He's starting in the National Hockey League. He's ready to go. This guy has said as much to the media and to the other people that have been following him around that he's ready to be thrown into action whenever. And John Tortorella felt that after 2 goals allowed by Sammy Ersson, that it was time to shake things up and throw Ivan Fedotov in there, saying it just really didn't look right in the net with Sammy Ersson. So an interesting goalie conversation to be had in Philadelphia going forward. Penguins also beat the Rangers yesterday 5-2. And Alex Nylander, we've talked a little bit about him. We've talked a little bit more about his brother on the Toronto Maple Leafs. But that Alex Nylander and Emil Benstrom trade between the Blue Jackets and the Penguins definitely went under the radar for a lot of people. By most, I think everybody would have thought that even the Penguins got the better player in that deal. And Alex Nylander has been just tremendous for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know his stat line reads kind of like a Cy Young winner: 10 goals, 3 assists, 13 points in 17 games with the Blue Jackets. Went pointless in 5 with the Penguins this year, but just been very, very good for them. There is something to be said a lot about getting an opportunity to just fire the puck, do what you are good at. And look, we all know Columbus isn't going anywhere this season. We know that they may not even be going anywhere next season. So it is very nice to see that some of these players are just going to get more of an opportunity by way of that. We have open ice time available. Go see what you can do with it. And Alex Nylander is really taking advantage of that. Daniel Tarasov, too, has been very, very good lately for the Blue Jackets. 45 saves for him against the Colorado Avalanche. We'll get into a few of the other games yesterday and a few of the games tonight. Quick shout out, Kyle Conan, emergency backup goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning yesterday. That's always a fun note. He was from Rhode Island. He served as an emergency backup goalie December 2nd, 2021 for the St. Louis Blues when they were in Tampa suiting up against the Lightning. So he went out for warmups for the Blues. He did not play in that game, obviously. that's always a fun story. We will see if there ends up coming a day when the National Hockey League decides to change it. But until that day, we get to kind of enjoy these fun stories of guys who, yes, it's almost like a fantasy camp for them, and it's not going to happen in any other sport. Football, we've talked about this, where the backup goal or the backup quarterback goes down, and you're not going to pull some guy from the stands that played a little high school ball and get him in there and put him in a Chicago Bears uniform. It's just not going to happen. But nonetheless, it's very fun to see. Those guys really enjoy it. They a lot of those e-bugs too. They work hard to stay prepared and stay ready and be ready to go. So Lightning take care of business in that one. So or they lose to the Red Wings. I'm sorry, 4-2. That I didn't watch that game. If I'm being very honest with you, I did not watch the Red Wings and the Lightning game. I did not watch the Kraken and the Sharks game. I actually, I have to admit, I watched the end of the Kraken and the Sharks game. Nice to see Shane Wright score, by the way. Nice shot, nice pass. The thing about Shane Wright, and we always said this, was he just needs opportunity to play with good players. He lined up yesterday with Jordan Eberle and Jaden Schwartz. So playing with good players, they both got the assists on his goal as well. That's the way you're going to get a young guy to really show what he can do, is if you can play him with quality competition and shows that he can ride with it a little bit. Few news and notes here. Red Wings and the Islanders both, they both pick up the wins yesterday. So they are within striking distance of those playoff teams, the Washington Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers. New York Islanders moving within 3 points of that playoff line. Dylan Larkin has been really, really good. Third straight 60-point season for him. First Red Wings skater to post a run of that length since Henrik Zetterberg went 7 years, 05-06 to 11-12. Patrick Kane also has just been tremendous for them too. I love the comeback here. There was a big question mark as to whether this hip surgery was going to derail any potential comeback by Patrick Kane. We know the list of players that have had this kind of surgery and it has not worked out for them. The Ed Jovanovskis, oh boy, the name is escaping me now. But Nick Backstrom obviously had this surgery and has not been able to come back from it to the level of his play before. So really awesome to see his 18th of the season go into the back of the net. And also the 30th go into the back of the net for the New York Islanders for Bo Horvat. That was before Morgan Frost tied it up. But just Bo Horvat's been really consistent. Personally, I don't know that the New York Islanders are going to make the playoffs. I, would put my money on the fact that they don't right now. But nonetheless, Bo Horvat's been really good. Obviously, he's been kind of what they were looking for in terms of somebody that can skate, compete, play at the level, both intelligently on the ice and just skill-wise as Matt Barzal. So they complement each other well. I think the Islanders, they're probably a bit older than they wish. They're a very old team. I know they lost Justin Bailey this year. Brock Nelson's still a very, very good player, but you look at the bottom half of the lineup and you probably wish that you had a bit more speed in the bottom half of that lineup. So that is the New York Islanders. Big win for them yesterday. I know that, a lot of people will look at that from the Philadelphia point of view, obviously with the goalie coming in and the goalie coming in and the loss by the Flyers and the bombastic quotes by John Tortorella afterward. But give the Islanders credit. That's a big win for them. Jamie Drysdale also making his return in that one after missing 16 games from an upper body injury. He had an assist on that late tying goal by Frost. Look, I like the hockey here. I like the hockey last night. I think the Flyers end up making it. I think that was kind of a point for them going forward. So that was definitely the most crucial game of the night. Same with the Red Wings game, I guess. But I could not bring myself to have all those games on the TV at once. Oilers also lose in overtime to the St. Louis Blues. Connor McDavid with another point in that one. How about Connor Brown, too? I mean, for a while, it looked like this guy was just never going to get any points on the board. And now he's been scoring. He picks up an assist yesterday. Matthias Ekholm has been really good, too, for Edmonton since coming over in that deadline deal last year. I heard a lot of people talking about Connor McDavid and the 100 assist thing. That's definitely going around. This week, I would not be surprised if he hits that at some point soon. Very impressive, obviously. Only Wayne, Mario, and Bobby Orr have hit 100 assists in a season. So very, very impressive stat. We're talking about 60 goals with Austin Matthews, which is now at 62 after his 2-goal effort last night against the Panthers. And that is impressive, multiple 60-goal seasons, only the 9th player in NHL history to do that. But when Connor McDavid hits 100 assists, it's not an if, it is a when. To be only the 4th player in NHL history to hit 100 assists is probably something that we should be talking about more. 100 assists in 82 games is a lot of assists. You look at some of the guys that have even gotten close to that number, and they are names that stand out to you as some of the best passers all time, among there with some of the greats of all time. So that is last night's action. As far as tonight's action, 8 games on tap. Like I said, local team will be on Long Island facing the Islanders after that win, second half of a back-to-back for New York. Boston will also be in Nashville taking on the quote-unquote hottest team in the NHL. I know they've lost a few in a row recently, but this is a big measuring stick for both sides. First of all, I want to say thank you to Nathan Scheibe yesterday for pulling up in studio, having a conversation with us about what he likes and does not like around the NHL right now, and entertaining some of my thoughts. But this Bruins team is beatable, definitely. And not that they're showing cracks. I think their 15 overtime and shootout losses would point to the fact that there is already cracks that exist. Same go for the Florida Panthers, who have been billed as a Stanley Cup thoroughbred contender through and through. And these teams are beatable. We saw it from the Leafs yesterday, going up 5-1 on them. I know the Panthers clawed back, pun intended, making it 5-4 before the eventual 6-4 final. Panthers will be in Montreal tonight to take on the Habs. But that Nashville-Boston game really sticks out to me. Nashville has an opportunity here to do what Florida did and be that team that knows how to play and have been, playing with their pants on fire for the better half of the last month, and then continue that into April 20th and the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs and really, really surprise a few teams. And look, we can throw around the fraud conversation, the team that maybe isn't as good. I just think that there is going to be some upsets, obviously, in the first round. That is the way that the first round of the playoffs go. And, I wouldn't be surprised if this Bruins team begins to show some cracks. And same with some of these other clubs. But, I have to zag on Nathan's Winnipeg Jets opinion because, boy, did they look good yesterday. We also have the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the New Jersey Devils tonight. The Washington Capitals are in Buffalo to take on the Swords. Washington needs to stop the bleeding here and make sure that they lock up that playoff spot that they have been fighting oh so hard for over the last 4 weeks. It is looking good for the Capitals right now, but it would do them a lot of good to beat a Buffalo team that will surely be coming off in a tough loss Saturday, obviously, to Toronto on home ice. You don't love when another team, and this doesn't happen a lot in hockey, but you don't love when your barn is overrun by fans of the other team. We saw that a lot on Saturday with the Leafs fans in Buffalo. I try and think about it from a Hawks perspective too, obviously, with us being in Chicago. I think there are some markets that the Blackhawks show up to. I think about Arizona. I think about, a few of these other spots where you'll get a heavy influx of Chicago Blackhawks fans. The Blackhawks have a very big fan base, extends more than just the Chicagoland area or Illinois or the city here itself. It goes way further than that. There are Blackhawks fans everywhere. That much is understood. But to infiltrate a barn quite the way that the Maple Leafs fans took advantage of the Buffalo Sabres, you don't see that too terribly often. So we'll see that one tonight. Also some late games, the Anaheim Ducks visiting the Calgary Flames, and what might be the game of the night, actually. I might have undersold that one and sold the Bruins Predators a little bit too hard. The Vancouver Canucks will be in Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. Still no Thatcher Demko for the Vancouver Canucks, although Casey DeSmith has been very good in his absence. Ottawa will also take on Minnesota. We will see if John Hines pulls his goalie again. I think that might be it this season for extraneous goalie pulls, unless we see something absurd in the last few games of the season. I think Minnesota's at a point of understanding that it might just be a wrap for them this season. Ryan Hartman was suspended 3 games. We mentioned he was going to have his hearing yesterday. He did. The term was 3 games. The decision was 3 games. Happened in overtime of the game. Got a 10-minute misconduct. He is considered a repeat offender under the CBA and will forfeit about $62,000 for those 3 games. We also saw Patrick Maroon join the Bruins for the first time since he was acquired from that same Minnesota Wild team. Had back surgery on February 6th. He was skating separately on his own. Last played January 27th for the Wild. And, he's been having a really good season. I think earlier in the year, Patrick Maroon was just playing really good hockey for Minnesota. A lot of people were surprised. And he's been out almost 12 weeks. I think, you got to get up to speed, but look for that to be, there was talk for a lot of Boston Bruins fans and media that the deadline for them was not up to the expectation of the Boston Bruins and up to the expectation of a team that really a lot of people think can contend for the Stanley Cup. So Maroon took line rushes on the second line, believe it or not, with Pavel Zacha and Dan Heinen on Monday. But that was mostly because David Pastrnak did not practice yesterday. So I would anticipate he squeezes in there somewhere on the 4th line. But there's still roster decisions to be made for Boston. And Patrick Maroon is going to bring it in those ones, whether it is upcoming games against the Panthers or his former team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Few more things here. We're going to keep it short here today just because, we a little bit pressed for time today. No guests, no action, but it is good. Good NHL action tonight. Busy week around the NHL. They are not giving us much of a break. Back-to-back eight game days is definitely a curveball for the NHL. Normally, yes, Sunday is generally a quiet night, but so is Monday too. So I was surprised we had as many games as we did yesterday. And normally Tuesday they get kind of back into the swing of it. But 8 games tonight, 5 tomorrow, 9 on Thursday, and 6 on Friday. So it is full steam ahead the rest of the week in hockey as the NHL looks to wrap up their regular season soon. The Women's World Championships also begin tomorrow. I might do, I didn't even know that, first of all, I would catch all the games here. So thank you to ESPN for that. So I will be watching more of that than I thought I would be able to just because of accessibility's sake. And I'm looking forward to the tournament. 8 of the 10 teams in the tournament, all of them minus China and Denmark, have PWHL representation on their squads. So it's going to be a good tournament. Give me the United States to win it. That is an early call for me. I'll take Canada silver and oh boy. Let's say, for fun, let's say Japan gets the bronze. I don't know that that's going to end up happening, but I love to see the growth of women's hockey in Japan, so we'll take them for the bronze. Toronto Maple Leafs sign Quinnipiac forward Jacob Quinlan to a 2-year entry-level deal. He had 17 goals, 46 points, 39 games with Quinnipiac this season. He was an undrafted, unrestricted free agent. And speaking of 6'8" goalies, I probably should have mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were talking about Ivan Fedotov, but Dartmouth goalie Cooper Black. And this guy, I think, has made a name for himself recently. Had a 910 save percentage in the NCAA this season with Dartmouth, and you have to consider all things here, right? A goalie for some of these top teams, right, that have made it to the Frozen Four, let's say. Look, you obviously have some really, really solid goalies in this mix. Obviously, Jacob Fowler for Boston College is an elite level goaltending prospect. So is Trey Augustine for Michigan State. I know they bowed out in the regional final, and we talked about that yesterday. But Trey Augustine has just been tremendous between the pipes. He is a Detroit Red Wings pick, and Fowler is a Montreal Canadiens pick. But in college hockey, first of all, we talk a lot about how college just allows you the development opportunity more. So it is the place for late bloomers to shine. But if you are on a team like Dartmouth, who is not generally competitive, and you put up a save percentage like 910, that is a very, very good save percentage on a team that is not maybe that good relative to the other teams nationally. So you know that Cooper Black was facing a lot of grade A scoring opportunities, a lot of tough chances against, was probably on the side of the ice that was tilted most in his direction. So nonetheless, just a way to say that Cooper Black probably saw a lot of rubber this year, probably saw a lot of grade A rubber this year as far as shot selection for a lot of Dartmouth's opponents. And I think the Florida Panthers got a good one here. And are we in the era of 6'8" goalies? It seems like Cooper Black will need a little bit more time than Ivan Fedotov to make his NHL debut. A lot of good goalies in Florida, too. I hear Spencer Knight is playing very well, which is a good sign for everybody, too. Spencer Knight included in the Florida Panthers organization. But they get some good goalies, man. Matt Guzda is a very good goalie as well. So we will see if we get another 6'8" goalie here soon. But the Women's World Championship, I am excited for that. Man, if I could get somebody on tomorrow to give us a quick preview for the Women's World Championship, probably should have done that sooner. I didn't know that it was going to be approaching so quickly, but that is the way it goes, folks. You see that these things happen, and then everything comes a little bit quicker than you imagine. So Troy Ryan will be the coach for Canada at that one. He's the coach of PWHL Toronto. A lot of, just like the trio of goalies even that Canada has on Renee Desbiens, Emran Smashmeyer, and Kristen Campbell. That is, how do you even choose, who you play in some of these situations? Renata Fast obviously is going to be a key part of this squad. So will Marie-Philippe Poulin and Sarah Nurse as well. Also Sarah Fillier, projected first overall pick in this year's upcoming PWHL draft, will be on Team Canada. Look out for Czechia. I know I picked Japan to win the bronze. That was more of using my head than my heart, or using my heart than my head. But if I were to use my head once in a while here, I would probably have to look at Czechia, who's just been very, very impressive there. PWHL Ottawa coach, we talked about this with Chris Sinclair a few weeks ago, but Carla McLeod will be the coach for that one. And you've got Teresa Vanisova and Katerina Mrazova and Anita Terilova. I've been, just really, really good players for a PWHL Ottawa team and Carla McLeod. So nice to see that these people have familiarity with each other. It's nice that PWHL Ottawa has become Team Czechia Light in the PWHL. And the growth that they have experienced as a country in women's hockey over the last even 5 years has been leaps and bounds, more than a lot of people thought they could get to in such a short amount of time. So, and obviously Finland will contend for that bronze medal as well. But I like Czechia a lot. Like, that is a good squad. Obviously watching Laura Mueller with Switzerland is going to be very good too. Sorry, Alina Mueller. My gosh, Lara Stadler. My gosh. Lots of names. I haven't done my Women's World Championships preview, and I'm trying to do it here, just like scrolling through. But it's going to be a good tournament. I look forward to it beginning tomorrow, and the fact that it is here in Utica, New York. If you happen to be in Utica, New York, go check it out. Utica is hosting a lot. They're hosting not to bore everybody, I know this is a hockey show, but they are hosting the Indoor Lacrosse World Championships this year. That will be happening in September. So that is also in Utica, New York. I have a friend of mine who is working out for a tryout for the Jamaican indoor lacrosse team. And he hopes to make that. So I wish him the best of luck in that endeavor. But shout out Utica, New York, as they host some of the premier events in sports. I think that's very cool. Any place that gets to host the Women's Worlds is a very lucky place. It is a great tournament. You will get some very, very good hockey games in that one. So the USA obviously is going to be very good. They are my pick to win it. Hillary Knight, obviously, Kendall Coyne Schofield. We're just naming names here, but the defense is loaded. I mean, you've got Megan Keller, Kayla Barnes, Caroline Harvey, but some new young talent. Joy Dunn is going to be on the team. Kristen Sims is going to be on the team. Layla Edwards is going to be on the team. All of them just finished their NCAA seasons. Dunn scoring that goal for Ohio State University. Same with Kayla Barnes and Hannah Bilka, who are also on that national championship winning Ohio State University Buckeyes team. So that gets underway tomorrow. Maybe we bring in somebody to talk a little bit more about it before it kicks off. But we start tomorrow with games Denmark versus Sweden. Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Czechia, USA, Switzerland all face off tomorrow. Few more things here. Oh, Tomas Hertl, by the way, practiced in a non-contact jersey with the Golden Knights for the first time on Monday. Came over, obviously, at the trade deadline in that move that nobody expected. Hasn't played since January 27th. Surgery to clean out some loose cartilage in his left knee. Said on March 11th he was hoping to be back on the ice with Vegas within 2 weeks. They then threw him on LTIR, even though I think that was more of a paper move than anything. And look, I mean, I don't know that he's going to be back in the lineup before playoffs. I know that is a topic of discussion amongst many a hockey fan, especially if you are among the anti-Vegas Golden Knights community. But I still love the move. I think a lot of people are shaking their fists at something that just is playing by the rules. And I mean, I know I look forward to the day that we see Tomas Hertl in a Vegas Golden Knights uniform. I always think it is better to get some of these players in your lineup before the playoffs begin so that there's a little bit of familiarity. I know Tomas Hertl is a good player. He'll be able to play that style. He's been on long playoff runs himself with the San Jose Sharks, but even still, better off getting these guys in and acclimated and around the team. The thing is, he's been around the team too, but obviously it's a different feel when you're injured. You are not, skating with the guys all the time. You're not going on every road trip, or really any road trip. Maybe for Tomas Hertl's case, I don't know, but good to see him skating again. Very ironic. It happens on April 1st. Maybe they just said, hey, like, take it to April and now start skating and say we're gonna ramp you up back in like 2 or 3 weeks. So. I don't know that there's going to be, we talked about the e-bug situation a little bit with Tampa Bay's e-bug yesterday, but I don't know that there's going to be any change to the way that the NHL takes care of LTIR and the way that these teams kind of use it and potentially abuse it. But I don't think the owners want to change it. I don't think the players really see an issue with it. I know it upsets some fans, but it really shouldn't. Some hockey teams are just doing everything they can to win. And we should look at that as a success. We all remember that interview that Bill Foley did, owner of the Vegas Golden Knights, after winning the Stanley Cup last year, saying that he would pay $130 million a year for his hockey team if he could. He's not that far off this season, but if you really want to fix it, put a salary cap in the playoffs. I don't agree with that. That is not my solution. That is other people's solution. But we will probably see Tomas Hertl in in a Golden Knights uniform soon. Sorry, I'm just reading about Sidney Crosby. Obviously, we are in constant awe of the greatness of Sid the kid who has turned into Sid the adult. But 19 point per game seasons for Sidney Crosby. That is the most, has tied Wayne Gretzky for the most point per game seasons in NHL history. That is some good company to keep, folks, anytime you are mentioned with the great one. That is probably going to wrap it for us today. We await some of these games. We await this this very exciting Art Ross Trophy scoring race that is coming down to the wire. We will see further if Austin Matthews can hit 70. But other than that, it should be a quiet night around the NHL. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy, if you haven't gone and checked out On the Gravel yet, by the way. Oh, I should mention, this is on YouTube as well now. We don't have the smiling faces and the cute video of us the way that On the Gravel does, where you can see Raven and Oliver talk about F1. This is just like we put it up there, and we're hoping to use it as a means to get a few more people directed to the show. So we thank anybody that is really taking the time, looking at this stuff, sharing it, viewing it. If you stumble across us on YouTube, make sure you go over to Spotify or Apple Music, leave 5 stars, check it out. Go watch On the Gravel too. Good episode. It's up on YouTube. It is up on wherever you get your podcast. So make sure you like, subscribe, review. Tell us how we did. Tell us what you liked. Maybe don't tell us what you didn't like. But, we thank everybody for taking the time and enjoy the hockey tonight. We will be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.